Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to change the firmware of a Cisco Access Point. You know that there are two models of firmware for the Cisco Access Points. One of them is lightweight, when you are using a controller to control your access points, and there is another version too, which is called autonomous. Using the autonomous version of the firmware, you can control the access point without a controller. You can connect to the web interface of the access point. But it is more usual for the Cisco access points to be used in the lightweight mode, because you have a controller that can control lots of access points, and it also has lots of benefits for you. There might be a situation that you have an access point without a firmware, or the firmware is autonomous, you want to change it to lightweight, or vice versa. I'm going to show you how you can do that using a TFTP server. First of all, I'm going to show you my setup. You can see here I have an access point. This Ethernet cable that is connected to the access point, the orange cable, it provides both power and data for the access points. I connected this orange cable to a switch that provides power and data for the access point. I also connected one of the switch ports to my computer. You can see this yellow cable here. And I also have a console connection to the access point, so I can tell the access point to go and download your firmware from the TFTP server, which I'm going to run on my computer. To find out which firmware version is suitable for my access point, I can go to this address, software.cisco.com/download/home, and search for my access point model. The one that I'm using is 3700i, which is this one. I click on it and it gives me two versions for the firmware. There is autonomous and there is a lightweight. If I click on autonomous, you can see the latest version is this one. And in the name, it has K9W7. You can see that W7 is part of the name. And if I go one step back and this time I click on lightweight, I can see in the naming, it has K9W8. So whenever we have W8, it means it is lightweight, and whenever we have W7, it means it is autonomous. I downloaded those two files and I have it on my TFTP server. I'm using Bean Agents as my TFTP server, and you can see those two files are here. Those are .tar files. One of them has W7 and the other one has W8. We need just one of them. If we want to use it in autonomous, we use the one with W7 in name, and if we want to have it in lightweight mode, we use the one with W8. I'm using Mobile Xterm as my terminal emulator. I click on Session and I click Serial. I choose my serial interface, which is COM4, and baud rate should be 9600, which is okay. I click OK, because right now my access point is not connected to the switch. It doesn't show anything. I connect the orange cable to the switch. The switch is on right now. Now that I connected that, it is starting the access point. I hit escape a couple of times here. I'm hitting escape. So I'm going to cause some sort of interrupt. This mode is like RAM-on mode in switch and routers. You can see that there are a couple of commands that we can use. I'm going to copy this command, ether underline init, to initialize the Ethernet port. I'm going to repeat it again. It is initializing the Ethernet port. Then I copy this command, TFTP underline init, to initialize the TFTP file system. If I type the question mark, I can see the commands that are available for me. If I do not have enough free space on the flash of the access point, I can format the flash. There is a command here, you can see here the format. You can format the flash drive. If you want to see the content of the flash, you can use the dir flash. It shows the content of the flash. It is 25 megabytes. It is very small. So I can format the flash right now, format flash, and I hit enter. It is asking, are you sure you want to format it? I say yes, and I hit enter. It's gonna take a couple of seconds, so I pause the video and start recording when it is finished. You can see that the flash is formatted. If I type dir flash again, You can see there is nothing in the flash. Now I can set an IP address on the Ethernet of the access points and start transferring file between my computer, which is a TFTP server, and the access point, which is a TFTP client right now. So I use these commands. I set an IP address for the access point. I copy and paste that. I set the subnet mask for the access point. And I also set the default router or default gateway. If the access point and the TFTP server are in the same range, which is the case for me, I don't need the default router. In case those are not in the same range, I can use this command. And after setting those IP addresses, I can use this command to copy the file from the TFTP server and extract the content of that. This one is the IP address of my computer. I set the IP address 172.16.1.2, which is in the same range of the IP address that I set on the access point. And this is the file name for the lightweight version in the TFTP server. So I copy this command, I paste it here and hit enter. You can see that it is transferring file from the TFTP server and extracting them. If I open the TFTP server GUI right now, you can see on the TFTP server it is transferring file. The file size is almost 15 megabytes. It transferred some part of it. It's gonna take a couple of minutes, so I'm gonna pause the video and start recording when it is finished. Now we can see that the file transfer is done. It is transferred completely and successfully. We can check it on the access point 2. If we type dir flash now, we can see that this file is transferred here. It created a folder, and inside that folder there are lots of files that are extracted from the file that we transferred. If I type dir flash : and then the folder name, we can see the content of that folder. Now we should tell the access point to use the image which is inside this folder to boot. If we check the folder name, it is the folder name. There is a file also with this name. It has an MX in it. You can see it is that file. So we should tell the access point to use that file for boot. I copy this part and I use it in this command, set boot. It is a variable. I specify the path for that. It was both the folder name and the file name for the image that we want to use for boot. I copy this line and I paste it here. I hit enter. Now I need to reset the access point. I copy this reset command, or I could type it and hit enter. It is asking that, are you sure you want to reset the access point? I say yes. This time when the access point reboots, I do not hit the escape key and I let the access point to boot that image. We can see here it started loading the image from the path that we specified. It's going to take a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes to boot completely. We can see it is loading the image, and when it is boot, we have the access point in the lightweight mode. We could use the same process for autonomous version of the firmware, and we can use the same process for upgrading the access point. It's going to take a couple of seconds or minutes, so I pause the video and I start recording when it is done. The boot process is finished. The default username is Cisco and the password is also Cisco with capital C. When I log in, because it is in the lightweight mode, it does not have many commands to type. If I type the question mark, I can see the list of the commands. There are some logs that is interrupting the output of the terminal. So you can use this process to change the firmware of your Cisco access point or to upgrade the firmware. Thank you so much for watching this video.